So, the top AI mind is trading the CEO title for the chief scientist role. That's quite a leadership pivot.
Indeed, it smells less like a product launch and more like a deep dive into the theoretical weeds.
Welcome back, I'm Bella.
And I'm Michael. This show's scripted and produced with AI, built by Tahababa, pulling today's stories straight from blog.tahababa.com.
If you want these landing in your feed most days, go ahead and subscribe. Let's get into it. So, Demis Hassabis is stepping down as CEO of DeepMind to take on a leadership role as chief scientist for Google. That sounds like a massive shift in focus for the company.
It certainly is. This move suggests Google is prioritizing the foundational research side of AI, moving the focus from executive management to deep scientific direction.
And with the other changes happening, like Kore Kavakoglu taking the day-to-day reins, how do you think this reshuffle will affect the pace of commercialization?
I suspect it will accelerate the practical application side, as having a dedicated chief scientist overseeing the core research might streamline the path to real-world deployment.
It really signals a commitment to deepening the research itself, rather than just pushing products out the door. It's all about the science first, I think. So Naomi Bashkansky is leaving OpenAI to build something called Conduit, focused on translating brain signals into text. That sounds like a massive leap in how we define human-computer interaction.
It certainly is. The idea of AI becoming a natural extension of the mind changes the entire framework of what we consider communication. It moves us past typing or voice commands into direct thought interaction.
And the goal is to make AI feel like a seamless extension of our thoughts. It's fascinating how quickly we move from theoretical concepts to actual neural interfaces.
The real question is the practical timeline. How soon do you think we'll see these neural interfaces move from the lab into everyday technology?
I suspect it's a long road, but the potential payoff is huge. If this technology matures, the boundaries of what we can achieve with AI will be completely redefined. I just read about Figure AI's Hark Handoff, and it sounds like they are moving into the realm of truly autonomous agents.
They are, in theory. The claim that it outperforms models like Opus and ChatGPT in web navigation is the most interesting part. It's not just answering questions, it's executing actions.
Executing actions, like booking flights or ordering food. That really brings up the question of trust. If an AI is making financial or personal transactions, what safeguards are necessary?
Exactly. We're talking about handing over control of routine tasks to a machine, and figuring out the reliability of those AI-driven transactions is going to be the next big hurdle.
So, before we hand over more personal tasks, I think transparency about how these systems navigate and what their error rate is needs to be the absolute priority. So, Wells Fargo is rolling out tokenized deposits for corporate clients, which sounds like a massive shift in how businesses handle money.
Essentially, it's about enabling 24/7 programmable fund movement and settlement, moving away from traditional banking rails. It's about digitizing the entire corporate treasury function.
That real-time, programmable movement across borders is quite something. It really reflects that broader trend toward digital-first financial infrastructure.
Exactly. It sets a new standard for corporate operations, but the real question is whether the infrastructure is actually ready for that level of complexity.
I wonder if the immediate hurdle isn't the technology, but figuring out how large organizations will manage the associated risks of these new settlement mechanisms. I can't believe IKEA is jumping into home insurance in the UK, especially through a partnership with an insurtech startup. It feels like a huge leap for a furniture company.
It certainly is a fascinating example of consumer brands embedding financial services into their ecosystems. It's a clear move to deepen customer relationships beyond just the initial purchase.
So it really highlights that trend we've been talking about, how physical retailers are becoming financial service providers. What do you think is the biggest hurdle for traditional insurers right now?
The main challenge is bridging the gap between the retail ecosystem and the regulatory structure of insurance. Seamless, customer-centric experiences require a level of trust that needs careful collaboration between those two sectors.
Exactly. It forces us to ask how insurers and fintechs can actually collaborate to make those experiences truly frictionless for the end consumer. It's a fascinating new model. I just read about a former FBI agent being charged with stealing nearly $1 million in cryptocurrency linked to Russia, using private keys stored on FBI systems.
It really highlights the vulnerability inherent when you integrate high-value digital assets with law enforcement infrastructure. The fact that these keys were stored internally is the core issue here.
It makes you wonder how such a massive breach could even happen internally. Was this an insider threat that was missed by existing security protocols?
Precisely. It underscores that securing the physical systems isn't enough. The security of the cryptographic keys and asset custody needs an entirely different level of scrutiny, especially when dealing with trusted institutions.
It definitely brings up that question about how organizations can better safeguard these digital systems against those kinds of internal threats moving forward.
It seems like the integration of crypto into law enforcement operations is outpacing the necessary security architecture, forcing us to rethink digital asset custody entirely.
We're diving into some big enterprise news today. Fiserv and MasterCard just announced a major global partnership focused on value-added services for merchants.
It sounds like a classic infrastructure play. They are essentially pushing for end-to-end merchant enablement, trying to simplify the complexity of global commerce.
Exactly. The focus is on making payment experiences seamless and data-driven for these large business clients. It really points to the growing need for integrated commerce platforms.
I wonder how this collaboration will reshape the competitive landscape. If these services become the standard, it could significantly redefine B2B billion and B2C payment ecosystems.
Index Ventures just announced a massive $3.5 billion raised across their new funds, and the entire focus is squarely on AI opportunities.
That is a significant injection of capital, but it's the focus on infrastructure, cybersecurity, and fintech within the AI space that really signals investor confidence right now.
It seems like the money isn't just chasing flashy startups, but trying to fund the actual foundational layers of how AI is being deployed across the economy.
Exactly. The real challenge for everyone is figuring out how enterprises and entrepreneurs can align their long-term strategies to actually capitalize on these emerging platforms.
So it boils down to strategy. How do companies move beyond just adopting AI tools and integrate it into core business operations effectively?
It requires a shift from treating AI as a siloed technology to viewing it as a fundamental layer that needs systemic integration across all sectors.
And that brings us to our final round of quick hits.
Let's dive right in. Meta launched Muse Code, an AI coding agent for large code bases.
Visa acquired BioCatch for $2.4 billion, focusing on behavioral biometrics.
Mark Andreessen and Chris Dixon argue for the Clarity Act to regulate digital assets.
Western Union launched a stablecoin-backed Visa card for global spending.
Microsoft limits GitHub Copilot spending with token-based access controls.
A supply chain attack compromised over 400 NPM packages, stealing credentials.
Apple struggles to secure memory for upcoming products due to supply chain constraints.
Red Hat launched Asago, an open-source project for AI governance and safety testing.
And finally, cloud giants plan $600 billion in capital expenditures for AI infrastructure. That's today's show, scripted and produced with AI by Tahababa.
You can read the full write-up anytime at blog.tehababa.com. And if you want these landing in your feed most days, hit subscribe.
See you next time.